So, I think I have PCOS.
Okay, tell me what the problem is.
I'm gaining weight uncontrollably and I can't figure out how to lose it. My acne is cystic and super painful. My hair is falling out in clumps. I haven't had a period in a year. I'm having awful cravings and I'm fatigued all the time. How can I manage my PCOS?
You know, it's all really in your head. You just have to focus on eating less, moving more. You know what? I'll even prescribe you some birth control. And that should just take care of everything else. Come back when you want to get pregnant.
What? Why? Hey sisters, today I'm going to talk to you about what you should ask your doctor when you're diagnosed with PCOS, including what labs to request. I'll also be sharing with you some strategies to get your doctor's attention when you feel like your symptoms are being ignored or invalidated. Stay tuned until the end when I'll share the two most important factors to consider when it comes to choosing a doctor for your PCOS journey. Before we get started, hit that like button for good vibes while we're managing PCOS together. When I was diagnosed with PCOS, I felt like the world came crashing down and everyone in the room was ignoring my reaction. Specifically, I had a doctor who had no bedside manners and she really just laid it down on me. Like, you have PCOS. And no further explanation of what it is or what's going on. I was really frustrated. The next thing she offered me was birth control, of course, and metformin. And I really had no idea why, because my shock and confusion was literally being ignored and I still had no explanation of what was going on. Before my doctor scurried out of the room, I was like, wait, why metformin? Isn't that a drug for diabetes? Am I diabetic? And why birth control? Isn't that a contraceptive? What's happening? All my doctor did was skip over my questions and tell me that women with PCOS often have blood sugar issues, so I should try to lose weight. And I was like, okay, I understand that, but how do I have blood sugar problems if I'm eating generally healthy? And one might say even healthier than the people around me. And how is my blood sugar affecting my hormones and causing ovarian cysts? Let me know in the comments if you feel like you were eating healthier than all your friends, but seeing yourself gain weight while they didn't. Needless to say, my questions were ignored again, and I was handed a birth control prescription and metformin prescription and just sent on my way. If my story is similar to yours, save yourself the time and energy of being confused and check out my video that I made on what your doctor won't tell you about PCOS. So, looking back, I know now that I was actually really lucky to have even received that diagnosis of PCOS because so many women are undiagnosed and just suffer from all these symptoms for so long, but don't even know where to begin with managing them because they don't know they'd even have PCOS. Women experience symptoms for years before discovering what the problem actually is. Comment below if you've had PCOS symptoms for years and didn't get diagnosed until way later. If you're watching this video right now and thinking that you might have PCOS, keep searching for a doctor who is open to listening. And while you're searching for the right doctor, have your questions for your doctor ready to go. You probably have so many questions, so I like to start with bringing up the following. Let's do a little role play. You'll say, I've learned that you need 2 out of the 3 symptoms to be diagnosed with PCOS. 1, irregular periods, 2, ovarian cysts, and 3, hyperandrogenism. That includes symptoms like facial hair, acne, hair loss, weight gain, moodiness. All right, so then your doctor's gonna be like, yes, you need 2 out of the 3 symptoms. What do you have? Then you'll be like, yeah, I have irregular periods and symptoms of hyperandrogenism, like really painful cystic acne and hair loss. So I think I have PCOS. What do you say? Can you also do an ultrasound and check if I have ovarian cysts just so I know? And then your doctor should be like, sure, sounds like you do have PCOS. Let's take a look at your ovaries as well. See, you brought in the knowledge and research, your doctor validated it, and is now open to further investigation. Even though you have 2 of the 3 symptoms and it's clear you have PCOS, you still want to check for ovarian cysts if that's not already 2 of the symptoms that you have. You want to find a doctor that's open and understanding to your request for an ultrasound. That's because knowing whether or not you have ovarian cysts plays a huge role in your decision on whether or not you want to take birth control and what you want to do in the future. My doctor told me that birth control helps reduce the cysts and prevents them from rupturing, so I took it temporarily out of fear of another ruptured cyst. If you do choose to be on birth control for this reason, you can still make the diet and lifestyle changes like I did that help you reverse PCOS, so when you're ready to get off the pill, which for me was about a year later, the cysts are less likely to come back because you have your PCOS under control. I personally followed our gluten and dairy-free lifestyle method, and all of my ovarian cysts disappeared and I haven't had one in 10 years. That was what worked for me and many sisters in our community. This happened to several actually who are in the sisterhood, the largest community of women learning how to reverse their PCOS while following our method. I've dropped the link in the description for you to check it out. So now that you've got your diagnosis confirmed and you know what's going on with your body, it's time to check all of your lab work because you want to know what your levels are and what might be triggering you and your symptoms. But once you get your lab results, don't expect your doctor to give you natural solutions to reverse these issues. That's something you'll go to a naturopathic doctor for because they've studied functional medicine. Some of these doctors have actually reversed PCOS symptoms. I mean, just take a look at the book 8 Steps to Reversing PCOS by Dr. Fiona McCulloch. She's a naturopathic doctor and she's a pioneer in the PCOS community. And then there's also PCOS SOS by Dr. Phyllis Gersh, who was actually once my gynecologist. She studied functional medicine. Naturopathic doctors are the ones who I reached out to for answers on how to reverse my symptoms naturally. My gynecologist is who I reached out for my diagnosis, my ultrasound, and some of my lab work to see that I was pre-diabetic at the time or that I had high testosterone. I didn't expect to receive direction in diet and lifestyle from my gynecologist, but I did study nutrition and deep dive into it to learn myself. Once again, let's do a little role play on what to ask your doctor when it comes to lab work. So first, you'll go in with a list of what you need to get checked. And don't worry, I got you covered, sister. Check out the link in the description of this video where you'll find a downloadable list of the labs you can request. So you'll say something like, hey, I'm looking to have a bit of lab work done so I can understand what's going on underneath my symptoms, like the cystic acne or the hair loss and facial hair. I did a bit of research and found what labs I want to get checked for my PCOS. They include estrogen, testosterone, fasting insulin, IGF-1, fasting glucose, LH, FSH, DHEAS, cortisol, vitamin D, and a full thyroid panel. Do you think you can run some of these or all of these for me? And then your doctor should say, sure, let's get that taken care of. If for some reason your doctor doesn't want to take these lab tests for you, either find a doctor who is open to testing these labs, or you can take the lab test I've linked in the description, which also includes a 30-minute consultation with next steps after you receive your lab results. Lab tests are very important because now you have the paperwork, the test results, to see what's going on underneath it all. But don't be fooled if your test results come back clean, because sometimes test results look perfectly fine even though you're suffering from PCOS symptoms. Don't let your healthcare provider ignore your symptoms just because you look fine. This often happens at the doctor's office because your doctor is looking at conventional lab ranges, which are very broad. You want to look at functional lab ranges, which are more specific, and the lab test I've linked below will include these functional ranges. Understanding the meaning of your lab work is important because it'll help you figure out what your next steps should be and what supplements you need to take, and also what type of PCOS you have. That's why I love this lab test, because it includes a 30-minute call with a health coach to go over your results and the next steps. Speaking of supplements, you may have heard that inositol is my favorite supplement for PCOS. I suggest you bring it with you to your doctor's office to ask if it's the right fit for you. The best way to do so is to come in with the research studies ready, just in case your doctor doesn't know about inositols. You can save them either on your phone or print them out and just make it easy when you get there. I'll link some in the description for you. Inositols are one of the most researched supplements for PCOS, so it's important that your doctor understands the value of this supplement in your PCOS management. In fact, some studies show that inositols can be just as effective as metformin, except without all the side effects. Many women have switched from metformin to an inositol supplement, so it's definitely something worth bringing up to your doctor. Here's a little role play on how this conversation would go. So you'd say, "Hey, so I looked into this supplement for PCOS, inositols, and there's a lot of studies done on them. I've printed them out to show you. Have you heard of inositols before? These studies show that it can help with all pathologies of PCOS, and some show that it's just as effective as metformin, except without all the side effects. What do you think? Please take a look and let me know if this is something you would suggest for me." And then your doctor should say, "Sure, I'll look into it." If your doctor isn't open to investigating this with you, you can try another doctor, or you can do a bit of research yourself and see if it might be the right fit for your symptoms. I've linked my favorite inositol supplement, Ovasitol, in the description. I've also made a YouTube video where I talk about Ovasitol as well as metformin and the research studies surrounding them. Alright, so now that you know what to ask your doctor at your next visit, here are the two most important factors when it comes to choosing the doctor who will help you manage your PCOS. Number 1, the doctor has to understand that PCOS weight gain is not your fault. If the first thing they say is just lose weight, or they proceed to make fun of your weight, don't sit there and take that kind of disrespect. You should not be blamed for your weight gain. There is enough research on metabolism and PCOS for healthcare workers to understand that PCOS is not a lazy fat girl condition, like some people say. We don't gain weight by overeating. It's from metabolic dysfunction. To learn more about this, check out my video on insulin resistance and why we can't just lose weight. Number 2, the doctor has to be open to the information you're providing them with. Doctors have studied many disease states extensively, and we shouldn't expect them to know every single detail about every single one. However, when we bring the research and try to have an informed discussion about something like PCOS, it's important that your doctor is open and receptive to learning, reading, and communicating with you about it. But if your doctor isn't willing to be open and learn, then it may be time to find another practitioner. So sisters, I hope you feel more empowered to take the next steps in finding a doctor who will help you along your journey. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and take the quiz in the description to see what type of PCOS you might have. I really appreciate every like, comment, and share.